Hi, everybody. I'm going to go over the basically the mini quiz questions and how to solve them. And it's to select all equations that could match this line. So the first thing you really have to do and kind of take into consideration is like, well, what's the equation of the line? What's the slope? And all linear equations are always y equals m, which is slope, x, which is just the variable x, plus b, which stands for the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is 5. So I know that b is 5. So that's part of my answer. And then I know that y is just y. That just stands for all y values up and down on the graph, whatever it comes out to be. And m is the next thing that we have to solve for. So m is going to be slope. So I have two lines right here. And notice that the line is going down. Okay, so we're going to go minus 2 over 1. So rise over run. So my slope, m, is negative 2 divided by 1, which is just negative 2. So I'm just going to keep that at negative 2. And then x just stays x. So that's my equation, negative 2x plus 5. So now I know, okay, this one's it for sure. Now the question is, okay, which ones are not it, right? Because that's like, so let's just do process of elimination here. If I multiply, so since the slope has to be negative 2, notice this one is a positive 2. So I know this is not it. Me, cross that out. Then over here, again, the slope over here is positive 2. Because if you multiply this in, you get 2x minus 4. Well, it doesn't matter what you do with this plus 1. Whether you minus it or plus it, it's still not going to work. So now you have 1, 2, 3 things to look about. They all have a slope of negative 2, because if you multiply it in. And all you have to figure out, okay, how do we get a 5 out of this? So here, let's just do this one for a second. If you add 1 on both sides to solve for y, because personally, I think that's the easiest, you're going to get y equals negative 2 times the x minus 2, okay, plus 1. Now, why did Mrs. Jones add 1? Well, remember the rule of all equations. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And when you add 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, so it cancels it out. Now, okay, now does this actually look like this? Not really yet, but if you multiply negative 2 in, all you need to focus on is this. So when I say this, I mean this portion. So negative times negative is a positive, and I get positive 4 plus 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. Yes, so because the y-intercept now matches, we know that this is a possibility. And we just kind of keep on doing things like that. So if you look at this one, we have a negative 2 times the negative 1. Well, that's going to be, so what I'm doing is instead of evaluating the whole equation, I'm focusing on the end. That's going to be a positive 2. Now, when I add 3 on both sides over here, well, 3 and 2 is 5. So this is another answer. And then I'm going, okay, well, let's look at this one. And a lot of you chose this one. And I'm going to show you why it's wrong. When you multiply the negative 2 to the 1, yes, you get a minus 2, similar to the other ones. But when you minus the 3 over, minus 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Okay, so if your y-intercept was negative 5, it would be down here. So this equation right here, this one, the y plus 3 equals negative 2 times x plus 1, is a parallel line. It does have the same slope, but it goes through at negative 5. So this one is going to look like this, go down 2 over 1. Some of you may not like go, whoa, how is she making that fast? I'm just counting boxes. I'm literally going, okay, well, I know the y-intercept is negative 5, and then I just go up or down based on whatever the slope is. So here's my slope for that one. That's my line. So notice that this one is nowhere near that. And we have our answer, 1, 2, 3. And that's a really good method. Now, on the next one, I'm going to show you guys how to. So at this point, if you like this method, pause the video, start writing this down. But on the next slide, I'm going to show you guys another way you can do it by just plugging in one of the points into each equation. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to write down that. And we're going to just kind of go over a few things. So I did some prep work on this problem, and I figured out the slope was 2 over 4 because it goes up 2 here, up 2 over 4 between those. Now I'm going, okay, well, the slope is 1/2 because it goes up 1 over 2 as well. So remember that the ratio, which is just fraction, can be simplified. And this is 0, comma, -1. And the reason why this is important is that gives you your y-intercept b. Okay, so it's y equals 1/2 x minus 1. The slope is positive because the curve or the line is going positive. Now, some of you earlier was like, may or may not be intrigued with the fact that I'm going to use a point. I'm not going to use the point that they give me. I'm going to use the y-intercept. And this is why. It includes a 0. It includes a 0. So x is 0 in all of these. So the reason why that is so useful is all I have to do is plug in 0 and -1 for the y value. So what that means, so we know that this one's not it because this y-intercept is wrong, but I don't know if this one, the second one, is it. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to plug in -1 for y, like I'm plugging it in for y. Okay, I plug in that, and then it equals 1/2 times x. Remember, x is 0, so 0 minus 2. Well, 0 minus 2 is just -2. So like all of these x's, when you plug in the 0, will just kind of go away. And you only have to focus on if it equals the left side. Okay, so we have 0, 1, -1 minus 1 is -3. And I can tell right off the bat, okay, if you multiply 1/2 times -2, that equals -1. -1 doesn't equal -3. So this doesn't work. Okay, on this one, when I plug in -1 for the y, I get -1 plus 6. Well, that's 5 because, 6 minus 1 is 5. So does 5 equal to 1/2 times 4? No. So this is not it. Okay, now to the next one. I plug in -1. -1 plus 4 is 3. So I'm working on this one. I get 3 equal to 1/2 times 6. Okay, whether you know what 1/2 times 6 is, you do know what 6 divided by 2 is. Okay, because this is 1/2 times 6 over 1. Multiply across. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 times 1, so you get 6 over 2, which is 3. So we have a winner. So this method is very useful if you have a y-intercept that you can find. So, and then this one, I'm just going to tell you, so 1/2 times 2 is 1, and 2 minus 1 is 1, so this is it. And if you don't know what I just did, I plugged in y for -1. -1 plus 2 is 1. And remember, you don't have to focus on what x is because if when you're plugging in this point, you're just checking to see if 0, -1 is on the graph because each of these equations is a real graph. Okay? All right, that's it.